Elias Finch was a man consumed by dust and disquiet, a self-imposed exile in the cavernous ruin of Ashworth Manor. He had come seeking historical truth, but the manor offered only decay and the oppressive weight of its past. One rain-lashed afternoon, while attempting to catalog the forgotten contents of a hidden compartment behind a study fireplace, his fingers brushed against brittle parchment. Not a diary, not correspondence, but scraps. Hundreds of them, folded, stacked, nestled together like dried leaves in a forgotten grave. Each scrap bore the same meticulous hand, inscribing sequences of numbers, seemingly random. Endless rows of figures, devoid of clear pattern. They danced before his eyes, a meaningless, maddening chorus. At first, Elias dismissed them as the ravings of a former resident, perhaps an accountant driven mad or a scholar lost in cryptology. He set them aside, intending to deal with the lunatic's arithmetic later. But the numbers began to prickle at the edges of his thoughts. In the stillness of the manor, amplified by the drumming rain, they seemed to murmur. Elias found himself drawn back to the scraps. He spread them across a table, trying to find a sequence, a logic. He consulted old texts on ciphers, on numerology, on forgotten mathematical theories. Nothing fit. They remained stubbornly, unsettlingly random, yet felt deliberate. Days rolled into nights. Elias stopped cataloging the manor's history and began to chart its madness. He transcribed the numbers, filling ledger after ledger. Sleep became a forgotten luxury, replaced by the buzzing in his brain, the relentless pursuit of a pattern he was convinced lay just beyond his grasp. His eyes grew hollow, his hands trembled not from cold, but from the nervous energy that coursed through him. The silence of Ashworth Manor was no longer empty. It was filled with the silent scream of the numbers. And the shift. Subtlety cruel. The numbers, when aligned in a specific way of a sequence of sequences he discovered through sheer, sleep-deprived intuition, began to suggest direction. Not coordinates, not dates, but movements. 3 steps north, turn left, 5 paces east. Descent. It was like following instructions given by a ghost. Compelled, Elias followed the silent commands. The numbers led him away from the habitable parts of the manor, into collapsed wings, down decaying service stairs, through air thick with mold and the scent of damper. Each step was an affirmation, a terrifying confirmation that the numbers knew this place intimately. They led him deeper into the manor's buried secrets, past rooms choked with forgotten furniture, beneath vast, dust-sheeted paintings that seemed to watch his progress. Finally, the numbers ceased. The last sequence, seemed to hum with a terrible finality. He stood before a heavy, iron-bound door in the manor's deepest cellar, a part of the structure lost even to the earliest blueprints had found. The air here was different, colder, stiller, carrying a scent that was not merely decay, but something ancient, something hungry. He pushed the door. It opened onto absolute blackness, a void that swallowed the weak beam of his lamp. But it was empty. He could feel the presence, immense and suffocating. The numbers hadn't been a cipher or a guide. They had been a count, a tally, a record of something contained, something waiting. And by following them, by acknowledging their existence, he had completed a circuit. He had arrived at the end of the count. The blackness pulsed. The air grew colder, stealing the warmth from his bones. He felt a pressure on his mind, 1,000 silent voices screaming the number sequences, but now they were not on paper. They were inside him, vibrating in his skull. He tried to step back, to flee the encroaching null, but the numbers held him fast. They pulled him forward, inexorably, into the chilling dark. Ashworth Manor had claimed another soul, lured by the dark arithmetic etched into its decaying heart. And the numbers they began again, a new sequence for a new presence within the dark.